And also, I mean, and I'm not saying this against the ladies, but you know that pretty much whatever we talk about here is, it's just guy stuff. And guys just don't go talk about everything all around the whole world. You know what I mean? So, now you're up, brother.
All right.
Okay, so y'all welcome Carlos. He's going to share with us tonight.
All right, guys. This is, I'm excited to be here. This is my first time anybody's ever asked me to give a lesson. So, you know, when Jacob asked me, I said, sure. Why not? You know, I'd like to go ahead and just start with prayer because I need it. I need it. This is not. Heavenly Father, just thank you for this time together, Father. As godly men, Father, we come together, Father, share our hearts, Father. We just thank you that we can do that, Father.
Yes.
Father, that we have the freedom, Father. Father, we just thank you. We love you, Father. We just, all the lessons that we've been through, pressing on, talking about the church, talking about the family, talking about everything, Father. We just, Father, everything that we say, Father, is to glorify you, Father. Father, I just want to get out of the way, Father, and let you speak tonight, Father. Father, just ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So I want to go ahead and start just kind of verse that's going to kind of wrap it all together. Is Matthew 28, 19 through 20. So therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. And teach them to obey everything I have commanded you, and surely I am with you always to the very end of age. Okay, so I have a question. I want you guys to think about the word mission. You know, we often think, but when I say think about it, I really, you know, just really not think with your head, but think with your heart, and what that means. What it means to you, you know, we often think of when we hear the word mission, we often think of the next SpaceX mission. We think of movies, you know, Mission Impossible. You know, yeah, you know, there's a lot of things that we think of. You know, a lot of worldly, you know, missions. You know, of course, my favorite is the Blues Brothers. You know, we're on a mission from God. You know, I love that movie. You know, and they were on a mission. You know, and so when I ask you guys, I want you guys to think about what it is. You know, the word mission. So as you know, we think about, again, the movies. We think about companies. Most companies have mission statements.
Right.
Any business, large, small, big organizations, churches, they all have a mission statement. Some short, some long. You know, I found a whole bunch of mission statements from different companies. I found one from was it Tesla's. I found Tesla's mission statement. Their mission statement is to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport by bringing compelling mass market electric cars to the market as soon as possible. In other words, they want to make money. Yeah, they have a very simple plan. You know, they want to sell as many cars as they can. I found Amazon's mission statement. Okay, their mission statement is to take over the world using mind control devices that will be in every home by 2025. Said Alexa to Jeff Bezos. So just be careful, you know. And Google Home told me this. So I think it's reliable.
Okay,
So, again,
I'm so sure you concur.
So again, go back to mission. You know, what do we think of missions? We're talking about organizations. Trying to go and try and find things. First thing I did was I looked up West Oaks mission statement. Nations gathered for worship, sharing the truth and love. You look. Jacob and I, when we're up on stage, we see the many different nations.
Yeah.
We see the body. We see all these different faces, different colors, different languages being spoken. And of course the love in this body.
Amen.
I look, Wednesdays for me, for Sundays for me. It's just I look forward to this time together. We have we have fellowship nights Fridays with Leroy and all that bunch. It's a group. It's the time to fellowship and to talk about things, talk about godly things. We joke around a lot. We have a lot of fun. More than anything, there's the joy. We celebrate. So we look forward to those nights as well. So nations gathered, worship, sharing in love. Okay, and so and as I read further, I see what does West Oaks believe. And as I'm reading in my mind, I'm reading it first, but then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. To me, this is more of a declaration. It should be yelled out. Should be, we should scream this out. We believe in God the Father. We believe in God the Son,
Amen.
God the Holy Spirit. We should be shouting these things at.
Yeah.
This is of course I was doing flips and somersaults in my mind as I'm reading this.
Oh, I thought you were telling me you got it on camera or something.
No, that's how excited I was. Yes, I'm an Olympian. Yeah. I play one on TV. But and it goes on. Human life. And this one kind of saddened, when Jeff asked the question, "Do you guys mourn?" And a couple of you guys were like, "Oh no, I'm good." But I'm thinking, when I read that,
That's right, brother.
when I read that, human life is uniquely created in the image and likeness of God. That just broke my heart because of the world, of what they think of life. How they value life. It just breaks my heart. We talk about abortion, child abuse. So many things, so many different things, and it's just, So Jeff asked the question: do we mourn? We should. We should mourn. Mankind. We are sinners in need of salvation. We are sinners in need of a Savior. We're not perfect. This church body, the love, it doesn't matter what condition your mind is, your heart in. When you walk in through those doors, this church welcomes you and loves on you. And that's been my experience. I've known Pastor Frank for a long time. I've known Leroy even longer. He's older than dirt.
Oh my God. Have a Sunday together.
We tease each other all the time, so this is my chance to it's always short jokes with me, but that's okay.
Oh.
I thought he meant one-liners, but he's like,
Yeah.
So again, we're sinners in need of a Savior. Salvation from sin by grace and grace alone through faith in Christ.
Right.
So as I'm reading this, I'm just like, wow, you know, this, I'm really liking this, you know? Everything I'm reading is like, this is what we practice here. This is what we believe, and I see it. You know, I see the body working together. You know, we'll talk about family and marriage. The two institutions, it's family, marriage, and Christ Church. You know, so again, family, you know, Lee gave a great lesson about being a godly man. You know, what it means, you know, to be a husband, you know, to be a father, to take care of what God has given you. And just value and cherish it, because that's, you know, without, you know, that gift, you know, and of course, you know, Christ Church, the body, all you guys, we are the church.
That's right.
Church is not a building, it's us as, as a whole, when we gather, you know. Righteous living, faithful service. You know, when I read that, you know, faithful service, I you know, I think about all the time and all the work that's put in when we prepare for our mission trip. You know, months of preparation, a lot of scouting trips, a lot of planning, just hours and hours and hours as we get to the deadline. I mean, it gets crazy, you know, but we're all faithful in serving. You know, when we get down there, it's long hours, long days. Oh boy. I know this, you know, we're up 1 in the morning and I know some of you young guys stay up all night, you know. Yeah,
Not as easy as it used to be.
but we're all there, we're serving. You know, we're faithful in what we're being obedient. I think that's, yeah, it's his living testimonies of his unending work and faithfulness. You know, we've shared testimonies here. Some of you guys have shared testimony to Leroy. I can't get enough of hearing Leroy's testimonies. You know, it's just testimony is a powerful thing. It can move people's hearts.
Right.
I have a story that I want to share with you guys. I think a story should have a name, you know, just like a book or a movie, you know. So I want to give the story the title, "A Man on a Mission." Okay, it's Man on a Mission. Back in mid-90s, I was in my wilderness. I was playing in a rock and roll band, long hair, living the life.
If anybody wants if anybody wants to see the picture, just come see me afterwards. I got it. Just showed us the picture.
Just again, in my world, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of details. I was lost. I was out there in the world, and I was working at this place. It was a little storefront, and I would have this one customer. He would come in, and he would, you know, make his purchase, you know, and it was usually small talk. He said, "Well, God bless you," and I was like, "Okay, whatever," you know. And he come, and you know, and he would come in, and he would ask me, "What is your relationship with Jesus Christ?" Yeah, and I didn't want any part of that conversation. I was like, "Look, you know, I'm busy right now. I don't want to talk." I gave him an excuse every time, but he'd come back and ask the same question. He would gather stuff, put his stuff on the counter, and he'd ask the same question: What's your relationship? How's your relationship with Jesus Christ? That was the question. And I don't know, maybe 8, 10 times. By the last time I said, "Look, I don't have time to talk to you. You know, you want to buy some stuff, buy it, and, you know, just kind of brushed them off. I didn't want to have any part of that conversation with them. I don't want to talk about your Jesus. Yeah, I just, at the time, I didn't. And life went on. I started seeing him less, and he wouldn't ask me anymore. But he'd still say, God bless you, how you doing, my friend? He wasn't upset, but he'd still come in every once in a while. Time passed. I'd say maybe a good 8-9 years had passed. I had started a family. I made a decision, you know what, maybe I need to raise my children in a church. You know, maybe I'll give this church thing a try. You know, at least maybe, you know, it'll work for them. You know, maybe they might like it, you know. And again, you know, Houston's a big city. Where I worked is, I mean, it was not too far. I mean, it's still down West Park and but anyway, so started visiting churches. When I say churches, I think this was the second church we visited. And walk up to the church and get, you know, West Oaks has greeters at the door. And so the gentleman greeting the door, welcome, you know, and, you know, we walked in, but something about him just, he looked familiar. You know, I was like, why does this guy look familiar? And so we thought, well, this is a nice church. Maybe we'll come back next week. You know, so we came back the following week, and there he was again at the door. But this time, I kind of paused and stopped and looked at him. And I asked him, where do I know you from? I know you look very familiar. And he couldn't tell me, because I had no idea. Probably because I got a haircut. But he didn't recognize me. And I'm trying to figure out where do I know this man? And so after the service, the service, you know, it's like that light bulb just boom. I know who this guy is. This was the man that would come into my store and ask me that question: how is your relationship with Jesus Christ? And so when that light bulb went on, I realized this is that man. Why am I here at this church? You know, why, you know, it's like, is this where I need to be? You know, just, I mean, it's just all these things, all these thoughts, like, wow. And so I at the end of service, I went and approached the man. And I told him, I said, I remember you. You used to come into my store and try to witness to me many times and ask me the question, how's your relationship with Jesus Christ? And he's listening to my story. He goes, yeah, and I told you this and this and that, and I told you to get out of my store. I didn't have time for you. And he just looked at me. He said, I'm sorry. I don't remember you. Everywhere I go, I ask people the same question.
Wow.
Everywhere. And as far as our response, I hear that response all the time. So, but rather than like, oh, this guy doesn't remember, I told him, I said, that's okay that you don't remember me, but I remember you. And I remember those words. And that was the beginning of my walk here at West Oaks. And that was Many of y'all, some of you guys might know him as, I know him as Brother Grundy.
Yep. Brother Grundy.
Brother Grundy.
When a day went by, he didn't ask about it.
He didn't ask. But he was a man on a mission.
Yep.
He had one mission. That is,
Remember when he passed away in the end of the grave, and how we felt like we lost something so valuable because of the way he did it.
The way he did it, yeah. I got to know him. I got to hear he shared his testimony. I got to hear his story. Very powerful testimony. And that made, that just, again, I want to say it was on a Wednesday night. I don't know what I was doing here, but somehow we ended up just us two, and he started sharing his testimony. He was in the Navy. He was a very angry drunk. I'm just like, wow, that used to be me. But that sharing of his testimony, and not only that, but just him going to my store and being boldly, unashamedly, just how's your relationship? Another verse, as I was thinking of all these things, Ecclesiastes 11:6, sow your seed in the morning, and at the evening let your hands not be idle, for you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, whether both will do equally well.
Yep.
He didn't care
Right.
whether I accepted that word or whether I accepted that message. He was going to plant his seed. And nothing was going to stop him.
So,
I tried. He went down the road somewhere else. So again, Brother Grundy was a man on a mission. He's been somebody that's been in my heart, in my as getting to know other men like Leroy, David. We share, we think of heroes. Jacob, I admire Jacob for his faithfulness, for his service, for his boldness. I see all you guys. I see this church pastor friend. I think, I love you, brother. You're my
love
friend.
you too, bro.
Yeah.
So glad you came back.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I did come back. I came back broken. And my son and I came here in this church body. That's why when I read this, I've read it a few times, but then really kind of studied and go through it. And so this church not only says on paper, but we at West Oaks here, I say we now because I am part of West Oaks.
Right.
We do these things. And so I want to encourage all of you guys to think about the mission. What is your mission? What is your mission in your household? What is your mission for your family? What is your mission when you're out and about? You take this seriously, because you never know who you're going to run into and whose life you're going to affect, whose heart you're going to touch. You throw that seed out there, and don't worry about the rest. God will take care of it. And so, guys, I just want to end with encouraging you guys that just like Brother Grundy was out on a mission, it is my hope and prayer that all of you guys, we men, that we be godly men, that we boldly go out and ask that question. Let them know who he is. All right. How are we doing on time?
we're good.
We got 15 minutes.
So
We got 15 minutes actually?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got, you got a question? Or?
Well, I was gonna add something to the story, kind of. I was too young really to know Brother Grundy in any real capacity, but one of my favorite things hearing about him was from Frank. Would always say that of Brother Grundy, and he had, near the end of his life, those of you who don't know him, battled his health on and off again for the last 15 years of his life. He was always in and out of the hospital. But what was funny is every time he got sick and had to go to the hospital, he goes, well, someone here in this hospital needs to hear about the Lord. So God had to bring me here because someone's got it. And he would tell me stories about, he would walk around in his gown and with his little IV bag on the cart, just walking from room to room, witnessing to people, I can't get that image, I was a kid, I didn't really know him that well, but just to think about, man, that mentality, not that, oh, I might die this time, but that, oh, I'm sick again, which means someone in this hospital needs to hear from, whether a nurse or a doctor or one of these patients needs to hear the gospel.
That reminds me of the Scott Wallace preaching on Sunday, because I've been reading Philippians about the circumstances. So Brother Grundy didn't see the circumstance what he was in for. He just wanted to see, what was his mission, like I was saying.
That's right.
And so he just wanted to accomplish his, his job here on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good example for all of men to follow through.
Yeah.
Did you hear him tell that story? One time God told him to go to Africa and tell one man that God loved him.
Sierra Leone, I think it was.
He did?
He did it.
Yeah, he did it.
He was over there in the mission for years.
It's amazing prayer.
Sierra Leone.
Yeah, we as staff, we eat together a lot. And we never went to a restaurant that he didn't try to lead that person to rest.
Yeah.
Every time. He would talk to whoever's waiting on us. And he would always say something like, well, you have a really good smile, how'd you get that? Something like that. And he would always start the conversation with some approach like that. Yeah, and then say, well, I know somebody that has joy, would you like to have that all the time? He was good at it. But that's always where he went. And he always went to that place where he would try to see if they were open.
Yeah.
That's when you worked at the light store, right?
Yeah, at the lighting store.
Yeah.
He would go in. His daughter worked at a recording studio of some sort. It's called the editing company. So he'd come in and get specialty bulbs, and that's where I got to meet him. That's where I got to shoo him off and. But
and we knew your boss too because we bought stuff from there as well.
Yeah.
So
when I started coming here, we started going. I don't know if you were going there.
I don't know.
Probably, I don't know. Maybe.
The place on West Time, I remember we had to go there by
Oh, yeah, where Frank been?
But I think, just kind of, Brother Grundy not remember me. I was so excited because I didn't care. It's like, it's okay. I remember you. But I want to encourage you guys that again, you never know, because I could still remember, even like in the 4th or 5th grade. And this is part of the reason the mission trip for me is important too. But I remember as a 4th or 5th grader, somewhere around there, riding my bike to the park where they had VBS in the park, and I remember the snow cones. But I remember.
Always remember the raspas.
I always remember the snow cones, yes, the raspas.
So he was that little kid coming
But I remember this. I remember this lady teaching me that I didn't have to pray to the saints, that I had a direct connection to Jesus Christ.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I'm 50 years old now.
Someone get this guy out of here.
It's only fair.
But again, it's we never know how
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know, God knows.
right.
You know, but so again, I just want to end this tonight, this evening. You know, be the godly man, have a mission. You know, be godly men to your wives, pray with your wives. You know, you guys want, you know, my advice, pray with your wives and don't put a TV in the bedroom. Okay? You know?
Yeah,
But, you know, teach our children. I mean, because we're
right.
getting ready to have a child. You know, you got to start planting that seed in that child.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I was once that little.
So I have a question, Carlos.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think somebody needs to do to get on mission? What's the steps? Or what's the first step, or whatever you think?
I think being obedient. Being obedient, surrendering. Because sometimes, at least for me, I got invited to start doing prison ministry, and I started praying about it, and I was led to do that. I did that for about 3 years, and that's kind of where, you know, but I had to pray about it, and I had to surrender, and I had, you know, but once you pray about it, God's Holy Spirit will tell you go. Just like when He asked me one teach, I'm just like, okay, you know, it wasn't me, because I don't do this. I have a fear of microphones, believe it or not, even though I'm a musician, but public speaking is not what I like to do. But I think just surrendering and going into the prison and you know, the beauty, you know, this sounds terrible, but you have a captive audience when you go into the prison ministry. And,
Nice choice of words.
but it was for me. I think you need to put yourself in that in a position to, and that's why I say you're. I think you have to be careful. I think you have to balance. You can't make your kids your whole mission, because they're going to grow up and they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you make your kids your whole mission, then what happens to the wife, and vice versa. You have to balance that.
That's right.
You have to balance what is your mission. So you know, and that's I mean, I don't know if that answers your
Yeah,
question.
what do you think is easier, obedience in the big things or the little things?
Obedience in the little things. Because sometimes I struggle with the big things.
Mm-hmm.
For me, sometimes like I don't. Why do you want me in that prison? I don't. You know. But he put me in a prison. It was a drug and alcohol rehabilitation facility. And so when I started going to this prison, I actually had a lot of common with these guys. They were in prison.
Right.
I did everything that they did. I just never got caught.
Right.
Back in my wilderness, I was living the rock, living the rock life, So when I got to go to share with them and share my testimonies and my alcohol abuse, my drug abuse, just everything that happened to me because of all that, all the problems, they had the same problems, but I had good news to share with them.
Yeah.
God put me in that position. Once I did that, there was a big load taken off. there's a big love because,
No.
you know, I was finally able to share my testimony without being ashamed. And just, again, it was just that freedom. You know, I think, you know, you just gotta pray about it and see where God's gonna put you in that position to do that. He will put you, you know, why he put me in there, I don't know, he knows. God knows.
Good answer. Anybody else got any questions?
I think that was good.
Do you have a personal or family mission statement, and would you mind sharing that with the group?
I have declared in my household that this is a Christian home, my family. This is a Christian home, we follow Jesus Christ. And I had to make a declaration because one of the things was I had a child in the house that didn't want to come to church. And so I had to make a mission statement right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pastor Frank preaches the very same thing that they have.
So I got it.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, look, we follow Christ, and as long as you live in this household,
Yeah, that's right.
you will come to church with us. Well, I don't believe in that. I said, that's okay, you don't have to. We'll work on that. But right now, you know, you're coming. Yeah, you're gonna get it. And let me tell you, she was shaking in her seat when Pastor Frank was preaching. She was literally shaking hearing that message after I had made my mission statement. I mean, her legs were just, I mean, she was nervous, you know. She was fidgeting and shaking. Her legs were shaking. That's okay.
Yeah, let him say it, brother.
That's okay. That's okay.
So my legs were shaking like that when I read the Old Testament.
Read through Judges, that's the last time you'll want to read through Judges.
Well, guys, I do appreciate you guys. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I love this family. I love you guys. This is my family. You guys are my family. I love you guys, and I love being here. Thank you, Pastor Frank, Jacob. Thank you for asking me to speak.
You bet.
Thank you. I didn't know I was going to be here, but God knew.
That's
Hey,
right.
thanks for being obedient.
Yeah.
A good example of
exactly
your own
right.
message.
Thanks for being obedient. That's a good thing.
Thank you. Most of us may not know, but Scars also he started kind of a ministry that he's been teaching my son how to play guitars, and it's something he wants to expand as a ministry.
Oh, no.
And I think if you can encourage him in any way, it'd be good. Because if you can raise a new set of worshippers, then the world will
Yeah,
be better for us.
absolutely.
And God will be glorified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember 2 years ago, Pastor Frank preached. It was a Mother's Day. He was preaching about empty nesting, and that's what I was getting ready to start experiencing. Yeah. And so that message, I remember that message. But just because my child is going on doesn't mean I cannot take another child. I mean, not take him, not like it. But you know, we are called to be a father to the fatherless.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
That's right.
And so we can still, I can still stay on that mission as far as, you know, being a father, being encouraging. I love Momo. He's a smart kid.
Yeah.
You know, I encourage him. We have a lot of fun. He's gonna be. I tell him I tell him all the time he's gonna be great. He's gonna be great. It won't be long before he's up there. And he's gonna be the next worship leader. So,
There you go.
Wow, good job.
yeah, I mean the kid is awesome. I mean I love that. I'm getting goosebumps just seeing it.
So are you open to teaching some other children?
Yes.
Or, you know, what's your age group? What do you think?
8, 9.
Yeah.
How old is Momo? That's it.
Well, I mean, Momo is he's a brilliant kid, but his mind is going like 100 miles per hour. I don't think I could handle more than that. I can probably do individual, but as far as having like
Yeah,
class,
that's all I was asking.
yeah, okay,
So individual, you like
Yeah.
that better
Yeah.
approach,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. I had a yardstick this kid too. So okay, because I had a piano teacher. If I messed up, she would hit me. I didn't play piano.
Woman fan.
You're playing the piano,
I
right?
quit playing the piano. But
With a hand rocket.
yeah. So any questions? Any?
I have one other question.
Okay.
So, how is Brownsville spiritually?
I
Which
think-
is your home.
I think Brownsville is spiritually. I think it's pretty sad.
It's pretty dark.
It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. It's a border. It's a border town. A lot of drug trafficking. A lot of just a lot of bad stuff on the border. I'm not saying that all people are bad, but it does lend to a very difficult environment, especially to raise a family, raise kids.
Right.
Just because the abundance of the drug trade, the abundance of drugs available to the kids, to because of the drug trade.
Right.
So it is very difficult. It is a place of there's a lot of spiritual warfare down there, and I experience it a lot when I go down there.
Right.
I do. So it's hard.
I'm so glad that you go on mission trips. I know you went before too, but people don't understand that. People don't understand. We've had a heart for the valley for years and years, and people just don't understand that you really do see it's different.
Yes.
Down there, it's really different.
Yeah.
The spiritual
And
conflict
it's weird that you haven't left the state.
and the dark.
You're in the same state that we're in right now,
The same
So,
stuff.
and it's so different.
Oh, it's. I've had kids on mission trip. When they start talking, you're like, wow, it just breaks your heart because I have one kid, but I'm gonna be just like my daddy and this and that, and I'm like, okay, so are you gonna be like, I'm thinking, oh, that's a good thing. And he goes, where's what does your daddy do? He goes, my daddy's a drug dealer. I'm like, okay, and where's
That's right.
That's
right.
And goes, where's is your dad gonna pick you up or? He goes, no, my daddy's in jail. I'm just like, okay, but it's like they're normal.
Yes.
That's their normal.
Yeah, it kills me.
It's heartbreaking, Or the other thing is that you see these kids being. I remember the first mission trip at Sosa's church. Kids being dropped off. I mean, the clothes. I mean, just rags, no shoes, and then their dad would come pick them up in a brand new truck with gold chains and that you could tell, what at least I know. I'm being from down there.
The culture, yeah.
On the culture, I was like, I know what that guy does for a living.
Right.
That'd break my heart that these kids would just be in filthy rags.
Right.
But yet dad has,
$80,000 truck.
$80,000 truck with a big old gold chain and a cowboy hat and the snake boots and so it's a dark place down there. And I'm glad we do go down there. And I'm glad, like I said, when if you could share that, that's why it kind of broke my heart when you go down this year.
Yep, me too, brother.
Yeah.
Cried a lot over that.
It's
Don't
not
even
bad.
know if I'm over it yet or not.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
No,
still not-
to me, like I said, I remember those words, and so when we go down there, I know there's somebody there.
Yep.
There's somebody that's gonna be a child out there that's gonna remember those words 20 years later, 50 years later.
Mhm.
So at some time that seed is gonna grow.
It's good. Now everybody knows why we go
Yeah.
and why we keep going.
Yeah.
One kid.
Did you go to a Pacer camp?
I want that.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, thank you. It's 8:35, guys. We'll be off next week, and then we will start the In His Image videos for 3 weeks. We'll have discussion after every one of them. And I really would encourage y'all to come to that. I think it's going to help our body, help us learn how to deal with the issues of this transgender thing, of gays and lesbians, you know, and how we as believers can respond, and we need to understand, you know, we don't hate anybody, and we've made that clear in our church, I think. We love all people. We can't endorse those sins because they work against the creation of Christ or creation of God. But there should be a way that we can be available to reach these people and that want to come out. They want to have a different life. And you know, and many of you don't know this because y'all were around, but we had one of our youth pastors was a former homosexual. And he came into our church, and he's lived in Colorado now. I mean, in
Arizona, yeah.
Arizona. So when he came in, the first thing he did was come and tell me, he said, I used to be gay. I said, so? Well, he said, it'll cause a problem, you know? And you know, he said, I'm not practicing, I'm not gay anymore. And he did it, and he was HIV positive. And he took, what was it, 30-something pills a day or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Unbelievable back then. Now things are a lot better for these people. And he's still alive. But, you know, the question was, he became our youth guy. But God blessed it. And he was good. He was really good. He reached a lot of people. And so, you know, we didn't know what to do, but we just didn't judge him. You know, he's liberated, he's free, and he's not living that lifestyle. So, come, serve. He was a good singer too. Remember, he could sing.
I think one of the hardest things is the language that trying to talk to someone is so easy for them to throw up an offense because you said the wrong thing. You said it in the wrong way, whatever.
Right.
Like implying something. Whatever you say can throw up a wall. But he, having come through that and been saved and changed, he called it sexual brokenness.
Yeah.
And I thought that was his testimony. So you couldn't refute that, and no matter what side of things you were on. And
Yeah, he taught me a lot about that.
Yeah.
We had another gentleman named Michael for a while.
Yeah, Michael, he's still in the ministry. He was Campus Crusade, I think. He's in San Antonio.
Okay.
And he actually has a ministry to homosexual people.
I heard him on the radio.
Yeah, yeah.
So
He's pretty good. Yeah, I can't remember Mike's last name.
Michael.
Newman, yeah, that's it, Michael Newman, yeah. Yeah, he was involved with a group called Exodus. And Exodus is the way out of the bondage. Very good ministry. And their group holds that all lesbians and homosexuals are sex addicts. And it's a real, and they need deliverance from that.
Yeah.
And that's where their focus is on that.
Because it becomes less about just an orientation, and that's who I
Right.
am now. My identity is, I am gay. You know, that's who I am. And if you
Right.
attack that, then you're attacking my character. You
That's what I'm
know,
talking about.
so they can't separate the
So-
person from the immorality.
Right.
They've married those together,
It's
and
a
now
covering of language that you can't penetrate without causing offense.
Right.
It's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, I went to some of those Exodus classes. It was good.
I heard him use that term sexual brokenness.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's really good. Yeah. All right, guys.
we gotta go.